It's no secret that I love my handhelds. I just enjoy the freedom of playing in any room of the house or away from home. So I thought it might be kind of fun to rank the handheld consoles that I own based on how comfortable they are. Yeah, I know, pretty riveting stuff over here at the Show Me Retro channel. All right, so I'm going to try to make this quick, so let's get to it. Now, before we get started, I need to go over a few ground rules. First, no Chinese clone consoles. So don't ask me in the comments why I didn't mention the new Anbernic 9000 or the Powkitty Who Gives a Shit. Only handhelds from the big three like Nintendo, Sony, etc. Number two, no grips. Now, to be honest, any one of these that I mentioned would be infinitely more comfortable with some sort of grip attachment. But I'm basing this on just like they came right out of the box. Also, these are the only handhelds that I currently own, so a lot of the ones that you may have will not make the list, but I'm working with what I got here. I do not have a Steam Deck, I do not have an Evercade, and it'd be interesting to see where they would fall, probably much higher than some of these other ones, but again, working with what I got. All right, with all that out of the way, let's get started.
All right, coming in dead last is the re-release of the Game & Watch. I'm not really sure why I even bought this thing, but as I've said in the past, FOMO is a bitch. Now, I can probably count on one hand how many times I played this thing. I mean, it's a cute recreation of the original, but it's just too small and very uncomfortable. Next up is the Game Boy Color. It's crazy how tiny this thing is, and that's probably why I've never done a screen mod on it, because the form factor is just too small and not comfortable. This one I keep around only for nostalgia. At number 10 is the OG, the Game Boy DMG. Totally unplayable unless you do a screen mod, but it's actually more comfortable than I remember, but understandably still pretty far down the list. Next up is one of my favorites, the Game Boy Advance SP AGS 101. Now, as far as comfort goes, this is one that people either love or hate. I don't think it's that bad, and definitely more comfortable than it looks. Everyone should own one of these. Number 8 is one that I'm new to, and I'll admit, I feel it's not as comfortable as I thought it would be. I wish they could have added what Mad Little Pixel calls butt cheeks on each end, and the analog sticks are just really small. Beautiful screen and very powerful, but this one needs a grip. Another one of my favorites, the Sony PSP 2001. Slightly more comfortable than the Vita, probably because it's just a little chunkier. As an emulation console, still a must-own and still pretty comfortable. If you can find one of these for cheap, definitely pick it up. At number 6, the Game Boy Advance. I'm sure people thought that this would be much higher on the list, and I'll admit its classic design feels really good in the hand. Skip the grip on this one, but definitely get that IPS screen mod. Making it into the top 5 is the Nintendo DS Lite. It single-handedly jump-started my passion for gaming when it came out. Love the clamshell design, and still fun to play in 2023. At number 4 is the new Nintendo 2DS XL. Interesting how closely in design this is to the DS Lite all these years later. If you don't plan on playing your games in 3D, then pick one of these up, since you still have the larger screens, but just in a smaller form factor. The new Nintendo 3DS XL comes in at number 3, and rightly so, because there's just more of it to hold on to. This is the best version of the 3DS in my opinion, especially if you have larger hands like me, and it's still one that I play when I'm not playing my Switch. In the number 2 spot is the Nintendo Switch OLED. Honestly, I've been pretty hard on the Switch for its lack of comfort, but I'm probably overreacting. It's not that bad. A lot like holding a giant cell phone, but overall for the average person, it's pretty decent. Now, it wouldn't be a top 10 list without an honorable mention, and in this case, it's the Wii U gamepad. Say what you want about the Wii U, but goddamn is this gamepad comfortable. Unfortunately, it doesn't make the cut because it's not a true handheld. Real bummer that it disconnects from the console if you walk more than 5 feet away from it.
Thing sucks!
But hey, without this chunky tablet, there would be no Switch, right? Which brings us to number 1, the Nintendo Switch Lite. I'm not sure why this is more comfortable than the regular Switch, but it just is. Maybe because it doesn't have Joy-Cons, but it is the most comfortable to me out of the box than any of these others. Now, you put a grip on it like a Satisfy, and it takes it to a whole nother level. But that's another video.
All right, so there you go. That is my list. The Nintendo Switch Lite beats out my trusty Switch, which is not a big surprise because I have talked about in videos how I think this thing could be more comfortable. Hopefully Nintendo will address that in the next iteration of the Switch. As I said before, all these consoles, if you put some type of grip on there, third party, whatever, it's going to be more comfortable. So make sure to look on eBay and Etsy if you have one of these and you think that it could be better than it is. There's probably a grip out there that you could use on it. Maybe not so much for the original OG Game Boy or maybe even the Game & Watch, but most of the ones that I mentioned, there's a grip out there floating around somewhere that you could buy for that. And what I want to know from you is, what do you think of my list and what is your most comfortable handheld that you owned? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And as always, if you enjoyed the video or you learned something, make sure to hit that thumbs up on the way out and turn on that notification bell so you know when I upload videos like this one. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.